This video is not meant for kids. It includes foul language, violence, and existential concepts. I am not responsible for anyone under the age of 13 watching this video. I would also like to mention that the digital images used to make this video have been custom made or changed from their original format and are not available for public use. Enjoy the video!
Really? No way they managed to pull that off.
Why are you in such disbelief, Miles?
Well, considering the fact that the Wisconsin and the Eastern is a lot smaller than the Milwaukee.
Not that I disagree with Miles, but I have heard that the Milwaukee's been on a slippery slope these past few years.
So I've heard. A pity, really. Rumor has it that at one point, it was going to be the other way around.
Where did you end up hearing that from?
My driver read it on the news. When the W&E was formed, it was basically the marionette of the Milwaukee.
How did the Wisconsin overpower?
God knows what. They apparently teamed up with the Wisconsin and Central to win the battle.
Well, I heard that the Wisconsin and Central pulled out of the merger. I mean, couldn't they see what they accomplished as a united force?
Obviously not, Miles, or it wouldn't have taken decades to get to this point. And speaking of decades, I was worried I was going to be stuck behind Powell for that long.
Yeah, speaking of that, what happened there?
He apparently ran out of steam on the hill just after Decker's.
Any chance that might have been a deliberate act?
Knows.
But we do know what the lads are planning tonight at Russellton.
Why? What's happening there?
Miles and I are going to be spending the night there. Apparently some of the lads are planning to tell ghost stories. 'Tis the season after all. You want in, Cody?
No thanks. I'm on banking duty.
Well, suit yourself. And every year on the date of the accident, it runs again as a warning to others, plunging into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul. Alex, where'd you come up with this story? Well, Percy told me last time I was on Sodor. Well, I certainly believe in ghosts. Okay, am I the only one who thinks this story is bullshit? Okay, this whole thing is bullshit. It's not bullshit. There are lots of ghost engines. Now let me tell you about the scariest one of all. The name of this tale is The Curse of Fowler's Ghost. Who's Fowler's Ghost? Alex, isn't it this time of year that you go in for ash removal? You could ask the workmen to put your brains back at this. Casey, that's enough. Leave Aiden alone. It's too late to be arguing. Rushka? Yes, Aiden? What exactly was Fowler's ghost? Well, it's quite a short story, actually. Not sure if it's worth telling. You might as well. They get more of a reaction than the steam-powered hyena over there.
Why, I oughta.
Casey, I won't tell you to shove it again. In terms of telling the story, I guess it couldn't hurt, so, well, here it goes. Our story begins in London in 1861. Sir John Fowler was a great engineer in many ways, and for those of you young engines who have crossed the Forth Bridge know of his work. But his biggest folly was the locomotive that he designed for the Metropolitan Railway. It was designed to work in the tunnels and not to produce smoke. You know how much of a cough my driver gets even when we go through tunnels. Even then, the tunnels up here only last a few minutes at best. But these locomotives had to work underground their whole lives. Right after the blueprints were finished, Fowler ordered the locomotive to his unique design. Unfortunately, the engine didn't steam well. On its first test run, it failed just outside of Hanwell Station on the Great Western. It made a second test run later that year, but it did not meet expectations. Fowler was angry. The engine had failed him. He ordered it to be sheeted up and left where no one would find it. Fowler also ordered for the test to be covered up and denied that the engine had ever existed. Before it was sheeted up, Fowler removed some of the locomotive's components, mostly boiler fittings, and sold them for scrap. Once he recuperated some of his costs, he banished the engine to one of the disused tunnels on the underground, never to be seen again. Down in its tunnel, the engine grew angry. It wasn't his fault that he failed, it was his designers. He soon plotted his revenge. A few years later, some workmen were removing the rails to the engine's tunnel. They bricked up the line, not knowing what laid inside. Just as they were leaving, there came an almighty crash. They turned to look back at the tunnel, only to find a pile of rubble. The engine was buried inside. They sealed the shaft off, and for a while, nothing happened. Then one night an alarm went out on the underground.
Run away, heading towards Edgeware Road. Clear the station, Matt.
Men went out into the tunnels to remove rails to derail the engine, but it never came. This continued on for several nights, until the men started muttering about the locomotive looking similar to an engine designed by John Fowler. Try as he might, Fowler couldn't keep the loco a secret anymore. He released some images, proving the locomotive had actually existed. After that, the sightings completely stopped, and when John Fowler unfortunately passed away, the engine was all but forgotten. But on the 50th anniversary of the engine's failed run to Hanwell, it has appeared again. Fowler's ghost continues to haunt the underground to this day, but it also does something else. It haunts the valleys, the vales, the tunnels, the main line, the branch lines. It thunders over bridges and races through tunnels, always looking for a new old engine to take away, sheet up, and remove its parts. Oh, son of a... I really don't think there's any reason to be afraid of me, Casey. Besides, I'm sure that Rushka has finished her story now. Well, I believe that's enough ghost stories tonight. I must be getting to sleep. I have an early morning tomorrow. Night all. I wish I could stay, but someone has to take the overnight sleeper train.
See you in the morning, Rushka.
It's gonna be a cold one tonight. Oh well, I get a fast run. Pretty rare these days. Huh, what a coincidence. Well, fancy seeing you here. Yes, I remember you. You were there when they pulled me from that wreck several years ago. I seem to recall that you were impatient even then. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll meet again. I've seen the future in London. I know steam can't last forever. Did you ever find him? Oh, I see. And that's why you're here now, I guess. He's been dead a while now. I thought by now he would have, moved on. You can argue all you like, but you're the one who chose to stay here. At least you've accomplished something. Well, he tried his best to remove you from history, and yet, here you are. A tale told to young engines to scare them into behaving. So, have you come for me today? Or is this some type of warning? When you come again, I'll go quietly. When you call me, I shall follow you onwards.